All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, another NBA offseason video, and the first NBA free agency video. We are going to talk about free agency. We are going to talk about some trades that happened, some teams picking up some team options, some players declining player options. There's a lot of movement going on, and I want to talk about the last couple days since we haven't really talked about some of the smaller moves and some of the bigger moves that have happened actually today as I'm recording this. So if you like what I have to say, like the video. If you have any opinions, comment down below. And if you just like the vibes, consider subscribing. Some of these moves, very small. We'll just go right over. Some other moves, a lot bigger. And we'll get to in-depth, but not too in-depth. And then when the teams are finalized and free agency is over, then we can talk about the blockbuster moves that have been happening in full detail. But we are going to start on June 25th. We're going to get in the time machine and go back a little bit, talk about some moves. I do have a notebook here, or I guess to say notes here, that I'm going to write down. And we are going to, at the end of this video, talk about which team has had the best free agency so far. Obviously, we're only going to include the bigger moves. So the first one we have here, I'm going literally just through Shams Charania's Twitter posts, going from the last time we talked, which is when LaMelo Ball got traded to the Timberwolves up until today, the 1st of July. Yeah, the 1st of July. Happy July, everybody. So in response to themselves, I guess, trading LaMelo Ball, the Charlotte Hornets intend to sign Kobe White to a 3-year, $74 million deal to return to Charlotte. Sources tell ESPN, blase. And this is in response to the LaMelo Ball trade, but also there's been things floating around that Kobe White would not return to the Charlotte Hornets unless it was in a starting role. He didn't want to come off the bench again. And I don't know how much of that played a part in LaMelo being traded, because obviously LaMelo's an all-star guard. Even though he is injury-prone, he's an all-star guard. And Kobe White, I won't say is unproven, but he's unproven as a full-time starter, I would say. And I guess with the self-imposed departure and shipping out of LaMelo Ball, the Charlotte Hornets were like, well, we have a guy here anyway, let's just keep him in the fold. And Kobe White also, this has also been floated around that Kobe White is more of a Charles Lee guy. LaMelo Ball is a little wacky, a little out there. Charles Lee, the coach of the Charlotte Hornets, is no nonsense, no BS. I think he's a very young coach that has a lot to learn, and I like what he did last year. This is one of the moves that you're like, okay, cool, you kept Kobe White, but like, where's the rest of the team? Because as we get through these tweets and through this news, you're going to see the Charlotte Hornets slowly disintegrate even further. So this first one, Kobe White, let's write that down, actually. Let's write down Kobe White here. So Kobe White is the first domino that we're going to talk about. And then we move over to Phoenix. All these are reported by Shams Charania. You can check them out for yourself. Restricted free agent Mark Williams intends to sign a 3-year, $38 million contract to return to the Phoenix Suns. Sources tell ESPN the deal is fully guaranteed. That's very important for a guy like Mark Williams, who has been injured throughout his career and his time in Charlotte before this. He played last season, right, with the Phoenix Suns, and I guess they liked him well enough that they kept him. So Mark Williams staying in Phoenix on a 3-year deal, $38 million. That seems pretty fair to me. And yeah, we'll see what he can do and see if he can actually, stay healthy. And he'll probably start at that point, right? Or I should say, continue to keep his starting spot. Yeah, let's move on here. Another one this one was actually kind of shocking. The Oklahoma City Thunder are trading sharpshooter Isaiah Joe to the Detroit Pistons for 2 future first-round picks. This is a great pickup. I feel like that's got lost a little bit in what's happening in Detroit right now and over the course of the last 48 hours for Detroit. This felt like a good get. You have Cade Cunningham, you bring in Isaiah Joe, you potentially were able to keep some of your other guys with Ausar Thompson on top of that, and possibly Jalen Duren. A little spoiler for later in the video. It doesn't look like they're gonna be able to keep Jalen Duren. We'll see. But I really like this pickup for the the Pistons. It provides somebody who can do a little bit of ball handling duties. Definitely takes some pressure off of Cade offensively. He didn't. Did he play that much in the? I don't think he played that much in the Oklahoma City Thunder run. He played a little bit. He didn't play that much. He had a game or two, but he didn't play that much. I think this is better for him. He steps into a bigger role, and obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder walk away with picks somehow. So let's see, Isaiah Joe. So IJ, Isaiah Joe to Detroit. Okay, that's another one on the board right there. Moving on here as we continue down. Yeah. Enough about Isaiah Joe. Another small one, a feel good story. Jose Alvarado is declining his $4.5 million player option and intends to sign a new 3-year, $14+ million deal to stay with the New York Knicks. I don't want to say he was an integral piece to the championship run that they had, but it's good to have him back. New York native. I believe he's from the Bronx, right? If I'm remembering correctly. Feels good. I have no feelings on Jose Alvarado. I've never had a feeling on Jose Alvarado except for that he plays hard and he engages in semantics sometimes, and that's what you need on a championship team. And he's going to be able to be in New York when they hoist up the banner in a couple months here. So good for him. Another move for Oklahoma here. Oklahoma City's Isaiah Hartenstein intends to sign a new 3-year contract to return to the Thunder throughout 2028 to 2029. That brings him to total franchise earnings of 5 years. Total franchise earnings. That brings his total earnings with the franchise at 5 years, $134 million guaranteed. So he's just tacking on more years to his contract. That's what they're doing. They didn't even restructure it. They're just giving him more money to keep him. Cool. Isaiah Hartenstein. Good for him. I mean, at some point he was the only guy on that Oklahoma City Thunder team who could score, which was crazy with that little floater like pop shot he had. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Oklahoma because the West is just so interesting right now. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. But Oklahoma literally shed the guys who I won't say didn't really play, but they have a backup for. They have a backup for the backup, and the backups for the backups are going to have this step up. But keeping guys like Isaiah Hartenstein, keeping guys like somebody else who we'll get to later in the video, I guess they felt was supremely important and more important than just keeping these smaller role guys. Which, I mean, excuse me. Which I mean, I kind of get it, but what made Oklahoma so deadly were the guys that were basically proven that you could run like a 10-man, 11-man rotation in the playoffs. And that's what they had to do sometimes because obviously they were dealing with injuries, but it was a benefit to them that they didn't have to worry about the 11th or 10th guy. Could he play in a playoff series? Because you knew they could play in a playoff series. So we'll see what happens there. Moving on here. Another small one. The Boston Celtics intend to sign Ron Harper Jr. to a new 3-year deal, $9 million to return to the franchise. Another move for them. That one's all right. I have no feelings about Ron Harper Jr. He's just okay. He's okay enough. This one, another Charlotte move that I alluded to that indicates they're disintegrating. The Charlotte Hornets are trading Miles Bridges, a 2029 first-round pick, and a 2027 second-round pick to the Phoenix Suns for Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, and a 2033 first-round pick. So they have a bunch of 2030s picks now. They're banking on somebody who's in grade school, who's maybe in middle school, is going to come and save their franchise in the year 2033. That's kind of crazy to think about. I like this move for Phoenix. I think it provides something new. I feel like Miles Bridges has kind of been underrated. To be quite honest, I'll say this gingerly, but I don't really care about his off the floor stuff. Like he might be like a shitty person. We'll put it that way. You can look into Miles Bridges yourself, but he's been pretty good in Charlotte. He was the most tenured Hornet in Charlotte, and now for him to be shipped off to at this point, I guess, a more competitive team in Phoenix, I love that for him. I think what would it be? It's Devin Booker, it's Jalen Green, it's Colin Gillespie, it's Dylan Brooks, it's um, Miles Bridges, it's Mark Williams. They got a little team going on there, and Jordan Ott, their coach, the Phoenix Suns coach, love him. I think he's a great coach. I think he's a lot of great basketball ahead of him, coaching it. And then for Charlotte, I mean, I don't see Royce O'Neal being on this team come the trade deadline or something. They're probably going to trade him. And even Grayson Allen, who you would think is a young player, but he's been around a long time. He's bounced around a lot, so he might not even be on this team past the trade deadline when we get into next season. But the Hornets just accumulating picks, and I think this is the last move they've made, but they're entrusting Brandon Miller, who has been injured. You're entrusting Con Knipple coming off a great rookie season, a historic rookie season this past year, and then you're trusting all these picks to turn out good in the 2030s after having one of your most successful seasons as a franchise. Yeah. Yep. That's what's happening, guys. Let's see. Are there any other details to this trade here? There are some. Plus the 2029 less favorable first round pick, less favorable first rounder, and a 2027 less favorable second rounder, while getting 20 million in tax savings while opening up a roster spot ahead of free agency. So the Suns have opened up a roster spot, which is good. And the Charlotte Hornets pick up two playoff tested players and receive a valued further out unprotected Phoenix Suns first round pick. I guess, I like Grayson Allen's okay. I like Royce O'Neal a lot better, but like the Charlotte Hornets aren't going to be in the playoffs, so why do they need playoff players? They need them as leverage guys to get them more picks. Moving down to Texas, the Houston Rockets and Fred VanVleet. Fred VanVleet is opting into his player option of $225 million for the 2026-2027 season. We'll see what Fred VanVleet is when he comes back. I never understood the hype around Fred VanVleet. I just never understood it. Every time I watched Fred VanVleet previous to his injury, I just felt like either he was such a huge asset or such a huge negative. Because, like, obviously he's a point guard. He controls the team. That's what this Rockets team needed desperately this past season. But I feel like his shot making, it comes and goes. I feel like he gets picked on defense a lot. I feel like for as marketed as he is as a veteran point guard, he makes some dumb plays sometimes. He does some dumb stuff. And I've never had a lot of confidence in Fred VanVleet. And I was very eager to see him play with Kevin Durant this past season, play with Ahmed Thompson, play with Alfred Şengün, or continue to play with those guys. And him coming off this injury and them having to pay him $25+ million, if he doesn't show up right away, because this team is compete right now or bust, he might not be on the Rockets. They might get rid of him. That's just my opinion. But yeah, Fred VanVleet opts into the his player option there. Let me go back and make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, cool. We'll do that. Freddie V, FV, HOU, Houston. Continuing on here. This is an interesting one that hasn't been resolved yet, and we'll see what happens, because there's some things percolating in Cleveland. James Harden declined his $42 million player option for 2026-2027, and both sides are working to a new multi-year deal together. Now, will Cleveland get LeBron? Will James Harden take a pay cut? Will they split the money, LeBron James and James Harden? Remains to be seen. Also, James Harden a bit of legal trouble recently, so maybe I'm not saying that will affect his worth, but something to think about. So that one's not resolved yet. That was tweeted on the 29th, so a couple days ago at this point. So we'll see if that gets resolved or if it waits till the end of the end of free agency, and maybe they pick up LeBron and they have James Harden in Cleveland. We'll see about that. Heading over to the West Coast, the Sacramento Kings guard Zach LaVine is opting into his $49 million player option for next season. Zach LaVine, man, this is another player. I like Zach LaVine on the Timberwolves, and then after that, I was just like, I just don't get the Zach LaVine hype. He is such an empty bucket getter. And I mean that with the utmost respect because if I was him, I would opt into this $49 million player option too because you're never going to see this money again. Nobody's ever going to pay you this much money to play basketball ever again. That being said, maybe he could play his way off this team in Sacramento and he could actually go to a contending team that could use him as a third or fourth option as a real microwave sort of guy. Um, Sacramento is where careers go to rot or die. Um, Another fun thing about Sacramento, because I don't think it'll be addressed here, but I'll say it here because we'll get to it later. The Sacramento Kings are interested in Jalen Duren, who I believe is a restricted free agent, sort of. Um, Pistons center, Jalen Duren. And essentially, it would need to be a sign and trade. And the Pistons would have to take on perhaps Zach LaVine and Domantas Sabonis, or just a pure swap. So we'll see what happens there. Sacramento might be able to keep, like, they might have like Darius Acuff, Zach LaVine, Keegan Murray, DeAndre Hunter, and Jalen Duren. And that, I'm not saying that's a great team, but that team's not half bad. That's not half bad. Um, but then again, it's Sacramento, so I hate to keep bagging on Sacramento. Um, um, this whole off season. I feel like I do it in almost every video. We have some other news that we'll talk about here in a little bit. That's a bit more serious, but we'll save that for the end. Um, Staying on the West Coast, Draymond Green declined his $27 million player option and will become a free agent. This move gives the Warriors more flexibility to pursue one LeBron James, who we'll talk about later, and what the rumor was, and it kind of has died now, but what was, they were trying to get Anthony Davis as well. And the big rumor was if you got Anthony Davis, LeBron would like 99% go to Golden State. And Draymond Green declining this option indicated that. And we are sort of in like a holding pattern above Golden State where the Wizards came out and said they're not trading Anthony Davis. So no Anthony Davis. Does that really mean no LeBron for Golden State? I don't know. Um, I would personally like to think that Draymond would take a pay cut no matter what to just give the team more flexibility and to sign more people. Because even if you're not going to get LeBron, this team needs a lot of help. It needs a lot of, what do you call it? Rehab. You know, like when you rehab a house, like there are a couple holes in the wall, you know, in Golden State. They're like something's leaking. Uh, some of the doors don't have doors, they're just doorways. There's that kind of stuff in Golden State. So I hope Draymond doesn't, even though I think he probably wants the money, I hope he can understand that the team can't really afford him at the level of play that he's playing at and keep the team competitive. He needs to either up his play and go back to a version of him of seasons past, or take some lower money and let some other guys come on the team and help them out. Him and Steph out. Moving on here, Josh Minot signs a new 2-year deal with the Nets. Good for him. Staying in Brooklyn. The Josh Minot thing was a Brooklyn thing. Daron Sharp intends to sign a new 2-year deal worth $20 million. Good for him. This is an interesting one, and this is a Lakers one, and we'll talk about the Lakers a hell of a lot more later. Um, DeAndre Ayton is opting into his $8.1 million deal for next season. Um, this is going to go one or two ways. Either DeAndre Ayton, a former number one pick, is going to come off the bench in place of somebody else we'll talk about later, or they're using this for a sign and trade sort of option coming up here soon, or he's not going to be here at the trade deadline, and the Lakers are going to try to move him and just have him as an asset for now, and then maybe try to trade him later. Although that would become increasingly difficult because the Lakers don't have a lot of picks anymore, and if DeAndre Ayton's a depreciating asset, they might just have to cut him at some point. So we'll see what happens there. I guess that's sort of big. Let's do DeAndre Ayton. Moving on here. Toronto Raptors. Trace Jackson Davis is opting into his $2.4 million. Good for him. Former Warrior Trace Jackson Davis. This is a big one. This is a huge one, and this team made a bunch of other moves actually too. Miami Heat forward Andrew Wiggins intends to sign a new 3-year, $64 million contract to stay with Miami, with a player option on the third season. Sources tell ESPN, blase, blase, blase. Um, this is basically a restructuring of his deal that he was on. Um, so Miami can get some more players around Bam, Giannis, and himself. I feel like Andrew Wiggins is going to be an integral part of this Miami team. He needs to go back to that 2021 2022 version of himself um, in order to make himself indispensable and make himself really valuable to this team. But this is a good first step for him, taking less money, a little bit less money on a longer term deal, so he has the security and also being on a competitive team in what Miami hopes to be for him. So let's do Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins. Don't think that's how you abbreviate Miami, but that's how you do it. Um, Another one here, and this one got resolved actually. Lakers guard Marcus Smart declined his $5.4 million player option, so the Lakers lose Marcus Smart. Um, Heading over to Cleveland, Thomas Bryant intends to sign a new 1-year deal to stay with the franchise. He didn't really play that much. Don't know why the Cavs are doing that, but sure, why not? Bradley Beal declined his $5.6 million player option, making him an unrestricted free agent. Remember Washington Wizards Bradley Beal? Yeah, me neither. I'm not sure if Bradley Beal's going to get picked up, to be quite honest. He's been diabolically bad the past 2 seasons. He's been bad and he's been injured. And he doesn't want to take a bench role either. Yeah. And the Clippers have, we're talking about the Charlotte Hornets disintegrating. The Clippers have completely disintegrated. We'll get to that more later. We have a trade actually here, staying on the West Coast, going down to Sacramento though. Sacramento traded guard Devin Carter and a future second round pick to the Atlanta Hawks. So Devin Carter's time in Sacramento comes to an end after an ignominious end and all hopes and dreams of him becoming something there. Now we move on past the 29th. The big things for the 29th here. This is when the John Morant trade happened. I have a video about that. If you guys want to check that out, I'll leave it at the end or I'll put a card in the top right corner. It didn't seem to get a lot of traction, so if you want to check out that John Morant video, please check it out. I would appreciate it so much. Moving forward, heading down to Atlanta, speaking of Devin Carter going to Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks declined Jonathan Kuminga's $24 million team option, making him a free agent. I have thoughts about Jonathan Kuminga that have been documented on this channel. And you know what? I have nothing positive to say about Jonathan Kuminga, so we're just going to leave it there. And I wish him nothing but the best. Yeah. Staying or going up to New York, the champs, New York, the New York Knicks championship. New York Knicks champions. The guys who won the championship this past year. They retain another player in Landry Shamet, signs a new 4-year deal worth $24 million to stay with New York. He was an integral part of this run, so he was a no-brainer to keep. So shout out Landry Shamet for finally finding a home, being a champion, playing a very integral role to being a champion, and doing everything that he was supposed to do. And I watched about a lot of his stops. I liked him when he was in Philly. I liked him when he was in Phoenix. I liked him at basically all his stops, and he finally his metamorphosis into this player that we knew he could always be could have only happened with the Knicks, I believe, because a lot of other teams tried it and they just couldn't fit him in, and the Knicks fit him in perfectly. Continuing on here to another championship level team, Oklahoma, they picked up Luzang Dort's team option for $17 million. So Luzang Dort will be back with the team next year. This was the other player I was alluding to them keeping, and another integral starter, essentially, that they were able to keep. Let me see. Luzang Dort, OKC. There we go. Another integral player, which, whatever you think of Luzang Dort, he's made himself almost irreplaceable on this Thunder team, and I think a lot of teams, a lot of fans that hate him would love to have him on their team because he's one of those guys like Draymond Green, of the past, like Bruce Bowen, like I'm trying to think here, like Dennis Rodman, who are just like these rough guys that just don't care what you think about them. Okay, now we're moving on to a couple more here. Well, okay, we'll talk about this one first. San Antonio Spurs forward Julian Champagny intends to sign a new 3-year deal, $45 million contract to stay with the franchise. Um, I have I've said lots of things about Julian Champagny, and he did show up in that one game in Oklahoma. Maybe he had one good game in the Knicks series. I'm not saying I would have let him walk for nothing, but I feel as if the Spurs. I can spoil this because they've only made one other move and it doesn't really matter. I feel like the Spurs are making all the wrong decisions and trying to just run this back. I feel like this Spurs team, as currently constructed, is not good enough to win a championship. They're good enough to get to the championship, but they're not good enough to win the championship. I don't like Julian Champagny enough to keep him. I really don't. I would have gone shopping for somebody else. I understand that maybe there's not a lot out there, but I, I don't think Julian Champagny will finish this contract on the Spurs. Let's put it that way. I feel like there's so many moves to be made to make the Spurs team better, and Julian Champagny is going to have to be one of those guys that gets shipped out eventually. So there's that. Um, Moving on here, Yusef Nurkic signs a 2-year, $22 million deal to stay with the Jazz. Don't know how. I guess he had a pretty good year, right? In in Utah. I mean, they benched him at some point because he was helping them win too many games when they wanted to be bad. So I guess he's pretty all right. He's pretty all right still. I mean, they're probably gonna lose. Well, actually, this is actually this signing in retrospective, knowing what I know now and knowing what you guys probably know now, is very important because they just lost a lot of their center depth, and Yusef Nurkic might be supremely important next season. Um, Another one here, heading back to the East. Sharpshooter Kevin Herter intends to sign a new 3-year, $27 million deal, probably replacing Duncan Robinson, who's going to be on the move. He's not going to stay in Detroit, even though I really did like Duncan Robinson in Detroit. Hopefully, Kevin Herter can step into that role and actually play a more significant role for this Detroit team. All right. Almost 30 minutes in, and we're getting some good time here. We're getting some good time. Um, Back to Golden State. Kristaps Porzingis has agreed to a new 2-year, $40 million contract extension to return to Golden State. The only thing about Kristaps, I like this version of Kristaps. I really do. In some games he played for Golden State, he looked really good. He looked amazing. I think maybe he only played like a handful of games with Steph in the regular season and in the postseason. Obviously, it wasn't much of a postseason for the Warriors, but um, he just needs to stay healthy, man. Just stay healthy, please. Either way, this is a great signing. I want to see some Kristaps and some Yaxel Lenenberg minutes. That's what Yaxel Lenborg, right? That's how you say it, Lenborg. Yeah, I want to see that. I want to see Twin Towers next to Steph. Another disappointing signing for me for the Spurs. They want to keep Harrison Barnes, and he's doing it on $8 million for only 1 year, but Harrison Barnes barely freaking played, and I don't understand. I understand the veteran leadership in the locker room. I understand all that stuff. It's go time, guys. We can't be messing around with like these washed ass vets taking a bench space. I just don't like it. Moving on. There's some more Kristaps stuff. Simone Fontecchio for the Miami Heat intends to sign a 1-year deal to stay with them. Good for him. Cheap player, cheap deal. They can keep him. This was a surprising one because there were some rumors that he might depart from Portland, but Portland retains Robert Williams on a 3-year deal worth $44 million, which I the Portland Trailblazers have so many log jams. It's crazy because they have Robert, they have Donovan Clingan, they have Young Hansen, and then at the guards they have Drew, they have Ja, they have Dame, and apparently they're going to start Dame and Ja together, which is diabolical, which is disgusting. We already saw that. It was basically just CJ and Dame when Dame was more at his physical prime, his athletic prime, and it didn't work. So you expecting me to think it's going to work with Ja? BS. I don't believe it. And they still have Shaden and Scoot. There needs to be another move coming for this Portland Trailblazers team to alleviate some of their log jams because it's not looking good. And the big one, the big one here. This is breaking from yesterday, June 30th. LeBron James will continue his NBA career for the 2026-2027 season. But he has informed the Los Angeles Lakers that the franchise can move on without him and he will play elsewhere. Clutch Sports CEO and LeBron's agent Rich Paul told ESPN. I do want to take a moment here to reflect on the LeBron James era in LA because it was a wild ride. I remember when it happened. I remember where I was when the news broke that he was going to LA. Um, this was the team he played the longest for in back to back years. Um, and I don't want to say he brought them back to relevancy, but he brought them back to a place where they were just struggling to get to after the Kobe Bryant era. And he brought a bunch of characters with him on that journey, most notably Anthony Davis, of course. More recently, Luka Doncic, who got a chance to play with LeBron. And Luka made a post about that, thanking LeBron and all that stuff. He also brought, Dwight Howard and Russell Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony, and there were some really bad teams in that era. And we can dissect it more later, probably later in the off season. But I want to say the biggest failure of the LeBron era was not LeBron himself. It was Solomon Hill landing on LeBron's ankle. I think that was right after the bubble, right after 2020. So it was like the 2021 season. Yeah. Landing on his ankle, LeBron was never at his physical prime ever again, even though he recovered well and he's still physically gifted, obviously. He's still playing at 41 years old, but Solomon Hill landing on LeBron's ankle, that messed up the Lakers' chances. Trying that old ass team of, like I said, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo, Dwight, AD, it's not just Rondo, that just never was going to work. Um, So those are two things. One of them actually on LeBron because LeBron wanted that team. The other one, LeBron just got bad luck and somebody landed on his ankle and that was it. But the other one, sort of the mismanagement of the franchise. And this sort of is on LeBron, but it's not, where he never wanted to take less than what he was worth, even though it hampered the team and the ability to make the team better. LeBron just wanted his money, which is understandable. But you probably would have more championships if you took like the veteran minimum or something. And he just refused to do that. But also, it became very difficult for Rob Pelinka to make any moves. But when other GMs can make these smart, savvy moves, and Rob Pelinka can't, it makes you wonder at the savviness of Rob Pelinka. And we're going to get to Rob Pelinka being very savvy here in a minute. But in that LeBron era, whatever it was, almost 10 years, right? Almost 10 years. Yeah, almost 10 years as a Laker. I think Rob Pelinka, Solomon Hill, and just one incident of LeBron himself sort of set this team back a little bit. And now they get to move forward with out LeBron and in the Luka era fully, finally. And now I can fully root for my favorite player, my second favorite player, Luka Doncic, without having to watch LeBron James. Not that I hate watching LeBron James, but I didn't like the way they coexisted. I think if it was 5 years earlier and LeBron was a bit younger and Luka was a bit younger, it could have worked out. But I just feel like one season of it, seeing it, it's like seeing this is gonna sound crazy. It's like seeing Scottie Pippen and Kobe Bryant when they were gonna potentially play for the Lakers together. It's like that. It was like if it happened a couple years earlier, it might have been really good, but it never materialized. Moving on here. Oh yeah, there's a little note here. I'll read that. And said, let me read this. Lakers president Rob Pelinka and Rich Paul. Oh, okay, yeah, we don't need to read that. That's right. LeBron's the league's all-time leading scorer. Crazy. Another a small one. Atlanta decides to keep Jock Landale. He intends to sign a new 1-year, $14 million deal. It's a lot of money for Jock Landau, who didn't really play last year. um, moving on, moving on. Now, after you thought LA was gonna get was gonna be upset about LeBron leaving. Um, Boy, oh boy, Lakers, not Lakers fans, LA natives, LA transplants. You're gonna get shocked again. The Los Angeles Clippers are nearing a deal to send Kawhi Leonard to the Toronto Raptors for Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks, a pick swap, and 2 second-rounders. So after a tumultuous time in LA as a Clipper, and Kawhi Leonard having many teammates, notably Paul George, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, um, Patrick Beverly, just a bunch of guys. Kawhi returns to the place where he won his second championship and second Finals MVP in Toronto, and he returns unchanged. Still the same guy, still the same. No more accolades for him. He just returns somewhere more um, comfortable. And this was one of two destinations that he was open to be traded to. The other one was San Antonio, which I kind of would have liked. But I like this even more because it provides a front court for the Raptors of Scotty Barnes, Kawhi Leonard, and Colin Murray Boyles, who's slowly becoming one of my favorite players to watch. A monstrous front court right there. And you're not going to be able to get past them. And the East gets even better. Which is crazy. We'll talk about this Kawhi one a little bit more once we know the rest of the team and see if they make any more moves and stuff. But shocking. This one actually shocked me. I didn't think Kawhi would get dealt this offseason, this early in the offseason. I thought it would take a little bit. Staying in the north part of the Americas, heading down to Milwaukee, though, free agent Ousmane Dang agrees to a 3-year, $17.5 million deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. He's going to have a lot more opportunity at those forward spots. He's going to get to play with Nate Ahmed, what's his name? Ryan Rollins. He's going to get to play with a bunch of guys, and I hope they really. I'm not saying I'm an Ousmane Dang fan. I'm not trying to say that at all. I think this kid has a lot. His physicals are really good, and I feel like he could be a part of like a really good playoff team. Not that the Bucks are going to be that, but I see it. I see the vision. Heading down to New Orleans, DeAndre Jordan has agreed to a deal to return to the New Orleans Pelicans for his 19th NBA season. This is a signing that I think he will not be on the Pelicans by the trade deadline. I think this is just him signing this deal and him hoping he could maybe get somewhere else. Or maybe he likes New Orleans. I don't know. But DeAndre Jordan at this point is kind of washed. He's kind of like the third string center. It's just good to have him around. He's one of these older guys. He's the last of Lob City, really. Chris Paul's retired. Blake Griffin's retired. He's doing TV. JJ Redick's coaching. Matt Barnes is podcasting. Lou Will's podcasting. Jamal Crawford is commentating. Yeah, he's the last of that Lob City era. Was Lou Williams? I don't think he was. I think I'm mixing my timelines, but you catch my drift. He's the last of one of the oldest, more recent but oldest eras in Clippers basketball. This is a big one. This is a huge one, by the way. This next one coming up. Going from New Orleans to Miami, free agent sharpshooter Tim Hardaway Jr. has agreed to a deal with the Miami Heat. Tim Hardaway Jr.'s father, Tim Hardaway Sr., played for Miami as well. So a bit of a homecoming for the Hardaway family, and a shooter that Miami desperately needs. And now they have one. Yeah, it's a great signing. Let me go. Okay, let's do Tim Hardaway. THJ to Miami. There we go. All right, we're almost done here, guys. Thank you for sitting through this with me. I appreciate it so much. Don't care about that. That's another Kawhi thing. Brandon and Carlson has agreed to a 1-year deal to sign with the Portland Trailblazers. And the Portland Trailblazers have another center. Brendan here played for Oklahoma. I've never seen this man in my life. I don't know if that's summer league or preseason, but apparently he played for the Thunder at some point. Um, Free agent forward Kobe Sanders agrees to a 4 year deal, $11 million to return to the Clippers. Oh, cool. Um, Also, by the way, can we just talk about how the Clippers just kept Kawhi and James Harden so they could open up their new arena and it not be empty? And now they're fine with it being empty because like, oh, we got draft picks, we got young guys now. The Clippers will be bad again. It'll be just eh. Um, we don't need Kawhi and James Harden. Can we just stop on that for a moment? That's crazy to me. That's how business works, though. This is how business works. Um, Now this is a crazy one, but this is also sort of take the money and worry about where you're playing later. Keon Ellis agrees to a 2 year deal with $18 million to go to the Brooklyn Nets. I'm not sure what the Brooklyn Nets are going to do next season, but they got Keon Ellis, who I really like and just didn't really have an opportunity to play in Cleveland. I know he had some bad moments, but I feel like he could have played a little bit more. I don't know there. Moving on here. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting into some more Lakers stuff, and we'll head into the end of this video here coming up. This is a bad one for the Lakers, but it gets good, I promise. Um, Lakers are losing Luke Kennard to the Phoenix Suns, who have signed him to a 2 year, $13 million deal. Phoenix Suns are gonna be good. Phoenix Suns are gonna be good next year. Oh my god. Um, I like what they're building over there. How many signings is that for the Phoenix? That's two really big signings for them, or big in their smaller pond, I guess, right? I like that for them. I didn't digest that yesterday when this got tweeted out, or even 16 hours ago. That's interesting. I like that. Um, and then we have Zach Collins agreeing to a new 2 year deal, $17 million to go to stay in Chicago. Blah, blah, blah. You got Dean Wade going to the Philadelphia 76ers on a 4 year, $39 million deal. Wow. That's a lot of years, and that's a lot of money for Dean Wade, who I don't love Dean Wade like that. I don't love him $39 million. I feel like it's something that the Sixers need, though. They need a floor spacer. They need somebody to just catch and shoot. Uh, I guess to play off Joel, and then obviously a couple years down the line now, play off Maxi, play off VJ, play off their recent draft pick. I guess I like it. I'll put it. I'll write it down. Um, I don't love it though, as somebody who's criticized Dean Wade a hell of a lot, and I feel like he had no reason to start in this Cavs' latest playoff run, and I don't know what he's gonna do with. I don't know what he's gonna do to change change the Philadelphia 76ers. Um, More Rockets news here as we circle back to them. Free agent Bogdan Bogdanovic has agreed to a 1 year deal with the Houston Rockets. Bogdan is an interesting player because he can play some point sometimes. He's a ball handler. He has a lot of experience at this point in his career now. His 3 point shot has kind of come and gone. I think they're just getting him so he's an extra ball handler, and that's what they really need. Like we talked about with Fed VanVleet a little bit ago, like we talked about their attempt to run Ahmed Thompson a little bit throughout this season. At the point, it just didn't really work out for him. Bogdan, even if he doesn't play that much, he can just be a ball handler in a pinch, and that's what they need. I think this is a very heavily Ime Udoka. We need another ball handler. Please get me another ball handler. um, and then they did get another ball handler and defender right after this. This is more today's news, these last couple, and including this one. Free agent guard Marcus Smart has agreed to a 2 year, $13 million deal to join the Houston Rockets, plus a player option on the second season. The former Defensive Player of the Year reunites with head coach Ime Udoka. After their time in Boston, they reunite in Houston. This is an amazing pickup. I just want to say this is an amazing pickup. Can you imagine a closing lineup of let's imagine here. Let's imagine. I'm trying to think of their best defensive lineup here. Let's imagine, right? Let's just imagine, just for a second. Marcus Smart, Ahmed Thompson, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., and Steven Adams, or whatever five they have, right? That's an amazing defensive five. It's an amazing. I know Kevin Durant's aging a little bit, but he can still get a couple blocks, still alter some shots. I hope Marcus Smart doesn't regress back to where he was before he was on the Lakers. Because before he was on the Lakers, he he was not playing that well. I feel like the Lakers revitalized him a little bit, and I want to see him in a winning environment. And as somebody who, for a long time I didn't like Marcus Smart. After he got injured, after he got bounced around to like Memphis and all that, I started to feel bad for him, and I really liked him on the Lakers. I really liked the way he complimented Luka. I feel like he can compliment Ahmed, he can compliment Kevin, obviously, and he can compliment Alperen Şengün a lot in Houston. So this is a great pickup. Let me put Marcus Smart down here on my notes. Um, Houston, that's a great pickup. Um, Smart made the decision this morning. Yeah. Oh, this is a new one. I didn't see this one. John Collins has agreed to a 3-year deal worth $51 million to sign with the Detroit Pistons. Huh. I like that one. If they're gonna lose Jalen Duren, this might be your only way out. I'm not saying John Collins is Jalen Duren, but on the scale from Jalen Duren to or John Collins to Jalen Duren and the money that they would both want or one of them would want, this is a better cost saving pick to have John Collins if you're going to lose Jalen Duren, and if you're going to play them together, if you can keep Jalen Duren, this is even more spectacular. Um, so let's do there. That's really good. I like that. I say, Detroit's doing it. They're cooking up a little something, even though they're in kind of dismay right now. They're cooking up a little something. This is a strange one, but I think it kind of works. Norman Powell has agreed to a new 2-year deal with the Chicago Bulls for $45 million. First-time All-Star last year, Norman Powell. I like this. I like this. I feel like him playing with Josh Giddey, him playing with a lot of these defensive forwards can work out. And I like this. And this is a smart move for the new front office that they have there, the new head decision maker that they have there. I'm going to like this tweet too. Moving on here, this is some sad news for the Knicks. We're going to get to a couple sad ones here for the Knicks. Ariel Huckporte is signing a new 1-year, $3.4 million deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. He departs the championship Knicks, but stays in their conference and in their division, I believe. So they'll see Ariel a bunch of times next season. Free agent center Nikola Vucevic is returning once again to the Orlando Magic on a 1-year, $3.9 million deal. This is where Nikola Vucevic became an all-star. I remember at one point people were clamoring for Nikola Vucevic to be on their team, and he just left at the wrong time, went to Chicago, got bounced around, ended up in Boston, and now he returns to a familiar place where I don't think the fans ever forgot him, and they thought very fondly of him. And now he returns to them. A bit older, maybe not going to play as much, but I think a veteran presence that this team needs. He stretches the floor a little bit. We'll see if that 3-point shot can come back to him, but a good feel-good story here for them. Heading up to Boston with the departure of Nikola Vucevic, the Boston Celtics regroup. And they sign another older player in Mike Conley Jr. He agrees to a 1-year deal with the Boston Celtics. Mike Conley becomes only the 14th player in NBA history to reach 20 seasons. So will this be his last one? Will he play an integral part in a Boston championship run again? Remains to be seen. But I like this for Boston here. And then moving on, talking about the Orlando Magic, but they lose Mo Wagner, the brother of Franz Wagner, to the Brooklyn Nets. Mo signs a 2-year, $19 million to head up north from Orlando to Brooklyn to just play basketball. I have nothing to say about Brooklyn, really. Staying in Orlando, Javon Carter, backup point guard for them, agrees to a new 1-year deal worth $3.5 million. He had a rotational spot in Orlando, so we'll see. I trusted Orlando last year, and I'm very hesitant to think they're going to be good, but keeping some of the older guys there and keeping some continuity is good. And they have a new coach, so we'll see what the new coach thinks about Javon as well. Another blow to the Knicks, unfortunately. Mitchell Robinson agrees to a 3-year, $4.7 million deal to sign with the Boston Celtics with a player option on the 3rd season. I don't know how Mitchell Robinson's going to be received in Boston because he's a bit of a different center than they're used to having. Um, right? I'm trying to think of their past centers they've had. I guess he would be more akin to a Robert Williams than. Yeah, I think they're trying to do that. They're trying to get a Robert Williams esque player to try to regroup some of their athleticism and try to regroup some of their defensive woes as well. Um, Maybe he'll get to match up against um, I guess he might get the Scotty Barnes assignment. Thinking about Toronto, he'll probably get the Joel Embiid assignment. He'll definitely get some minutes on Bam or Giannis in Miami. He's gonna be really important to this Boston team. I don't know. I don't know how he's gonna respond to being that important, but good for him. Coming off a championship and then heading to a championship organization with multiple champions under their belt. Um, let's see here. Okay, this is gonna be the last one because these other ones I don't really care to talk about right now. But the big one that made me want to get up and record this video actually because I really wasn't, to be honest, looking forward to recording this because like there's not a lot of big things. Maybe we'll spend some time talking about LeBron departing from the Lakers, talking about Kawhi a little bit. But this is the big one for LA. Um, After hunting Walker Kessler for like what feels like 3 seasons now, they finally get him. They are sweeping him away from the Utah Jazz for an unprotected first-round pick in 2031 and 2033, and first-round pick swaps in 28 and 2030. Sources tell ESPN. Kessler will sign a massive 4-year, 3 point or 134 million deal with the Lakers. So this is a sign and trade for the Utah Jazz, who get the picks that we mentioned, and the Lakers get a center. Finally, that's going to be the long-term solution. Hopefully, he's coming off an injury. It's a shoulder injury, so we're gonna see how well he's moving that way. I guess using his shoulders and stuff. You use your shoulders a lot in basketball, if you didn't know. But yeah, now the Lakers have Austin Reeves, Luka, and Walker Kessler. Very interesting three. Gonna need to stay healthy. Gonna need to be just play more than 50 games together. I think that's the main thing as well. Um, this is a good move. I know people hate on Rob Pelinka for not making moves, and then when he does make moves, people still shit on him a little bit. But I like this move for the Lakers. It does limit them a lot going forward. I saw a thing on Instagram like they don't own their first round pick till 2034. Yikes. So we're gonna see what happens there. This has to be it. This has to be the solution, or else it's gonna be really bad in LA. And Luka's upcoming free agency is gonna loom even larger if it doesn't work out. The Lakers also add Siandru Mamu Kisha Shifeli. I love when the announcers say it. I cannot say it for my life. Siandru M, we'll call him, signs a 4-year deal with $52 million to stay or to go to the Los Angeles Lakers. He was okay enough when I watched the Toronto Raptors. I don't know if he's worth $52 million over 4 years, but hey, why not try it? The Lakers also get Quentin Grimes on a 4-year deal worth $60 million. This is the payday that Quentin Grimes was looking for. Last season, he didn't get it, so he went back to Philly, and now he leaves Philly finally to possibly fill a bigger role in LA on a long-term big contract that he wanted. I've been following Quentin Grimes since he was in New York. He was with the Mavs for a little bit. I liked him on the Mavs. I didn't really like him in Philly. I'm going to be very eager to see him play with Luka. Quentin Grimes is one of my favorite role players. Even though I'm critical of him, I'm one of my favorite role players there. And then there's one last move for the Lakers here. They get a defensive backup or even being able to play with Luka in Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton's had a couple underrated seasons. He's been wasting away in Utah, kind of just been around a little bit. I really still like Colin Sexton's defense. He's going to play well off Luka and Austin Reeves. He's going to be able to cover up some of those defensive gaps that the Lakers have, and he's going to get to continue to play with Walker Kessler after they played together in Utah together. So there's some familiarity there. Colin Sexton strikes me as a JJ Redick guy. He really does. So we'll see what JJ Redick can cook up for him, cook up for all these new guys. And yeah, that's the end of the video. I mean, you got D'Anthony Mellon agreeing to a new 2-year deal with the Warriors after opting out of his original deal. But that's it for this video. I don't want to get to an hour too much. I have my notes here about the biggest signings, and I have the teams next to them. We have Houston making a lot of moves. What is that? Two big moves. You have Detroit making 2 big moves. You have Oklahoma retaining a lot of their talent. The Lakers, man, oh man, Miami doing some little things. I would say all these teams. I mean, I don't think I can give the award to any of these teams definitively without the free agency period ending. But to look at Detroit, I love what they've done. To look at Oklahoma retaining a lot of their talent, Phoenix picking up some really important guys that might fill some gaps for them. LA having a really good offseason. The only caveat to that is it needs to work. If it doesn't work, you are in trouble. Miami doing some great things, keeping Andrew Wiggins, getting Tim Hardaway Jr. We'll see if they can get another shooter. The Knicks losing some of their depth. I don't know if they've been 2 important pieces, but Mitchell Robinson is definitely important. Boston getting Mitchell Robinson and Mike Conley is big. And then keeping Landry Shamet. Yeah, I would say though my favorite like pickups thus far, obviously the Lakers. I'd say Lakers, Houston, Phoenix, and yeah, those would be my top 3 right now. Yeah, those would be my top 3, and we'll see what happens with the rest of free agency guys. But yeah, those are my top 3: Houston, Phoenix, and LA. Yeah, those would be my top 3 right now. So we'll check back in. Um, if there's another big move to be had, if LeBron gets signed, there will be a video out immediately. I won't wait like I did with this one, but I figured I might as well get some of these ones out to you guys today. We'll obviously get back to the Kawhi signing in Toronto. We'll get to the LeBron free agency discussion maybe a little bit later on this week or into next week or even this weekend. You might get a video. So yeah, that's it. That's the video. Um, I'm very hot. It's very hot where I am, so I'm gonna end this video. Thank you for watching. Check out the video on the left. It's the Ja Morant video where I talk about his fit in um, Portland and I talk about the future for the Grizzlies. Check out the playlist on the right. It should be just basketball hot topics. And if you click my little icon right below 2026, a little subscribe button will pop up and you can subscribe with ease. Like and comment as well. And I will see you guys next time. Cheers.